Bengal beatdown. The Cougars showed no mercy against Idaho State, cruising to an easy victory.
Net nanny Mackenzie Olsen shows us that protecting the BYU goal is not as easy as it looks.
And Rose Parade. Coach Rose rolls out the new look of the Cougars in the annual Blue versus White game. I'm Brianna Carr.
And I'm Brooke Davis. Cross over and step back. It's time for the Tube. Tonight, BYU will play in the holy grail of American football, Cowboy Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And oh yeah, that other team in Arlington's going to Game 7 of the World Series tonight.
Let's just hope that the Texas Rangers can distract all those Horned Frog fans for just a couple of hours so BYU can beat one of their last big opponents of the season. The Bengals came into town last week. BYU put up 56 points in. It wasn't a big deal. If you haven't heard of Kyle Vanoy, you need to wake up and smell the hot cocoa, of course. The kid blocked a punt. That hasn't happened since the Colorado State game in 2009. He's kind of a big deal. The ensuing BYU drive lasted a whopping 7 seconds. Riley to Appo, don't mind if I do. He finished with 5 catches and 71 total yards. ISU did come back and ended a 63-yard drive with a field goal. But that wouldn't be their only points on the game. The running game came through, too, with Michael Lisa and J.J. DeLuigi pounding in TDs of their own. Offensively, the Cougars were on another level. Cody Hassel-Hoffman doing what he does best, breaking hearts and catching passes. And Riley Nelson threw 3 touchdowns for his 3rd consecutive time this season. The Cougar D was hurting feelings on the field, too, recording 3 interceptions, including one by Danny Sorensen. That was returned for a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. It's games like that that makes me proud to be a Cougar and kind of embarrassed for my Idaho boys.
After the game, Bronco was all smiles, reminiscing about some of the game's top plays and players. Did the Cougars just get lucky against the Potato Kitties? Bronco certainly doesn't think so. When the fur was done flying, he spelled out what it took to bury the Bengals in Saturday's post-game press conference.
I really believed our team prepared well this past week in practice, and it's a unique challenge, especially playing an FCS opponent at this time in the year, but I think our team showed a lot of maturity and handled it well, and that was a real step forward in my opinion.
After another week of practice, we'll see exactly how far that step forward will take them in tonight's game against TCU. Cougars are dominating the FBS Player of the Week honors again. This week, quarterback Riley Nelson scored the offensive award for the 2nd week in a row, and linebacker Kyle Vanoy grabbed the defensive award for the 3rd time. Nelson led 6 touchdown drives against Idaho State, completing 11 of 17 passes. Vanoy's day included 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks, and a blocked punt, which set up a touchdown early in the 1st quarter.
A lot of schools have a strong tailgating tradition. We've even seen our fans invited when they go to BYU's away games. Now one group is trying to launch our own tailgating tradition here in Provo. CougTube reporter Sean Gordon stopped by the Cougar Center tailgate in the practice facility parking lot last Saturday, but it looks a little different today, doesn't it, Sean?
There's nothing but cars here this afternoon, but on game day this lot transforms as the RVs, grills, and big screen TVs take over. It's the sounds and smells of game day, this time with a breakfast spread before the afternoon kickoff. The Cougar Center tailgate adds food, fun, and a festive atmosphere to Cougar home games.
We're just inviting everybody to come in. You know, you don't have to bring anything, come eat our food, and just come have a good time and hang out and socialize and get to know other like-minded people.
The creators of Cougar Center saw the tailgating tradition at Ole Miss and decided to try the same thing at BYU.
I'd love to see a unified tailgating experience at BYU, whether it be on like a certain designated lot, just something that unifies Cougar fans if you want to tailgate.
Visiting fans are welcome too. Mayor Brian Blatt of Pocatello stopped by before cheering on his Idaho State Bengals, finding a home in enemy territory, and he'll be the first to tell you the benefits of tailgating.
Once we started tailgating, more people started showing up, and so I think you definitely get a lot more community support and a lot more fans in the stand, regardless of who's playing.
The tailgates kick off 6 hours before the games start, and these partiers are right back at it after the game, too. They say if you want in, just show up and join in the tradition. At the practice facility parking lot, also known as Tailgating Central, Sean Gordon, CougTube.
Thanks, Sean. And the tailgating won't end with the final football home game. Cougar Center has already begun planning tailgates for some of the big basketball games as well. It seems that USA Today is just as concerned about faulty football helmets as we are. They published a story yesterday on how the NCAA is keeping track of the helmets on the ground instead of on players' heads. The NCAA Football Rules Committee discussed the issue back in February and decided to count the number of times helmets came off during games this season. During the first 7 weeks of Division I and II football, more than 1,100 helmets have come off. The NCAA Rules Committee will determine at the end of the season if it's a big enough problem to put rules in place to keep the helmets on.
The NCAA Division I board raised the bar for student athletes yesterday, approving new reforms that require athletes to meet higher academic standards in order to participate in NCAA-sponsored postseason games. The new reforms also give conferences the option of adding more money to scholarship offers and give schools the opportunity to award scholarships for multiple years. The changes also affect summer basketball recruiting. NCAA President Mark Emmert sees the changes as a commitment from the NCAA to the academic success of all student athletes. Schools that do not make who do not make the grade could face penalties like reductions in practice time, coach suspensions, and scholarship reductions. These changes will begin phasing in during the 2012-2013 academic year.
When CougTube returns, B-ball is back, and the Cougs dust the cobwebs off their jerseys and get back into it.
Horned frog hunting. Can the Cougs keep their win streak going against TCU? Stay with TCU next in line for the Cougars, BYU hasn't even come close to a win in the last 3 years. In true form, though, Bronco says this is just another game.
Each week is the next opportunity to get better, and I've never really focused on who the opponent is, nor anything else besides our program, improving our execution and improving how we play.
The Cougars have a 5-game win streak going on, so hopefully this will be the year that the Cougars show the Horned Frogs who's boss.
Both the Cougars and the Horned Frogs are coming into tonight's game full of confidence thanks to their last week's games. BYU easily beat Idaho State, and the Horned Frogs ran over the lowly Lobos 59-0. Ouch. So obviously, Brittany, these teams aren't playing their best opponents this season. What's going to happen tonight?
Well, Brianna, TCU hasn't been playing the hardest teams this season. I would say BYU has had tougher opponents, but I think tonight's game will be close if both teams bring their A game.
I want to start with TCU. If they want to win tonight, they need to keep Riley Nelson in the pocket. He likes to run the ball because that's what he's good at. TCU's defense needs to make him throw the ball from the pocket. At the same time, their secondary can't ignore BYU's big playmakers, especially Cody Hoffman. Hoffman obviously had a great game against Idaho State, and he also had 162 yards and a touchdown at Oregon State. On offense, TCU needs to switch it up a little bit. They are 18th overall rushing in the nation, averaging over 200 yards a game. But BYU's defense is strong against the run and is only allowing 120 yards per game. Something's got to give. In order for TCU to be successful offensively, they need to pass more against BYU's stout rush defense. If BYU wants to win this game tonight, they're going to have to keep a high-scoring team that's averaging 43 points a game closer to 20 points. I say that because BYU is only averaging 26 points per game. If they let TCU score as much as they normally do, then the Cougars will have a hard time keeping up and matching that score. I've already talked about TCU's running game, and that's their strong point. The Cougars need to shut that down. BYU has one of the top rushing defenses in the country. They need to keep that up. And I've said it before about the Cougars this season, and I'm going to say it again. They need to limit turnovers. BYU had a good game against Idaho State last week, but still had 3 turnovers.
Giving up the ball will give TCU all the offensive momentum, which will make things tough for the Cougars. BYU needs to take care of the ball tonight if they want to come away with a win in Texas.
The Cougs have never even come close to beating the Horned Frogs, so hopefully tonight is different.
Hopefully.
The new era of BYU basketball, new faces and new places, is on. And this year, it's all about Hartsock, Davies, and Abuo. Oh my. The annual blue versus white game on Wednesday introduced some talented newcomers on the court, as well as housed some old ones in the crowd. BYU treated fans with double digits from 6 of our players, including the returning Brandon Davies, rookie DeMarcus Harrison, and El Capitan Brock Zylstra. Seniors Hartsock and Abuo led the blue team and came out on top with a 74-71 win over the boys in white. Post-tip-off, I think we're all breathing a little easier knowing that our basketball team isn't just a one-hit wonder. There's definitely a bright future with a few potential stars.
BYU is new to the WCC, but they're already getting some love in the preseason polls. The head coaches have spoken, and BYU basketball landed in the 3rd spot behind Gonzaga and St. Mary's. The Cougars beat both of those teams last season. St. Mary's at the South Padre Island Invitational and Gonzaga at, of course, the NCAA tourney to advance them to the Sweet 16. And our very own Brandon Davies was the only Cougar picked for the preseason All-WCC team, coming off an average of 11.1 points and 6.2 points per game last season. It's been over 7 months since the men's basketball team last dressed in uniform. One first-round draft picked later, the 2011 season is finally here. CougTube reporter Blake Tillotson went courtside to get a closer look.
This year's Cougar tip-off gave players a chance to showcase their skills, but the game wasn't without a few preseason bloopers. After a rusty first half, hopeful fans saw glimpses of a potentially successful and exciting future.
We're long ways from being a really good team right now, but you know, that's I think kind of what is to be expected.
From a coach's standpoint, evaluating your team's performance in a blue and white scrimmage is a lose-lose.
It's kind of a frustrating situation when you're coaching 2 teams at once, because every time you score, you're upset at the defense, and every time you don't score, you're upset at the offense.
Without Jimmer's dominant offense and Jackson's in-your-face defense, this year's team will need to step up if they hope to continue seeing sellout crowds.
There's a lot of great options on this team. You know, definitely, you know, we miss Jimmer and Jackson, the leadership and what they're able to do, but, you know, this year I think we got different players who can step up in that big role.
BYU will continue to play Cougar basketball, but seeing these guys behind the bench is going to take some getting used to. From the Marriott Center, Blake Tillotson, CougTube.
The men's basketball team hosts their preseason opener tomorrow night against former Cougar Michael Lloyd Jr. and Midwestern State. They tip off at 7 p.m. inside the Marriott Center.
When CougTube returns, Volley Folly. Our Lady Cougars volleyball team drops another tough conference game in the Fieldhouse.
Keep out. The BYU women's soccer team counts on their senior goalie every game in this, her last season. We'll be right back.
While you usually see them only in uniform, BYU athletes are suddenly all about the tees. The Cougs are hoping to collect 6,500 t-shirts for the West Coast Conference's Clothes for Souls. The shirts go to people in underprivileged countries. You can help them out by sending your new or gently used t-shirts to room 374 in the Student Athlete Building. The BYU women's volleyball team suffered a hard-fought loss 3-1 to league foe number 16 San Diego on Saturday. The Cougars claimed the first set 25-23 behind a 7-kill effort from Christy Carpenter. BYU opened set two with a 5-0 run before San Diego answered with a 6-1 run of its own and claimed the set. The Lady Cougars overcame early struggles in the 4th set with a 5-0 run, but San Diego took control and went on to win 25-17. Carpenter led BYU with 14 kills and 5 blocks to tie her season high, while Jennifer Hampson added 13 kills and 5 digs. On the bright side, the team traveled to California last night and defeated the San Francisco Dons 3-1, securing the number 3 position in the West Coast Conference. The Cougars hope to end their California road trip with 2 straight victories. They take on Santa Clara Saturday at 2 p.m.
Well, once you start, you just can't stop. The women's soccer team scored 5 goals against the University of San Francisco yesterday, winning 5-1. Junior transfer Colette Jepson led the ladies with 2 goals, one in the first 3 minutes of the game. Don't forget, Senior Day is tomorrow at South Field. They'll take on the University of San Diego at 1 p.m. One Cougar who won't be getting her kicks much longer is senior goalie Mackenzie Olsen. CougTube reporter Christina Silly caught up with the keeper as her career winds down.
Olsen plays the game with passion and inspiration, and that's the legacy she'll leave when her soccer career is over.
Goalies are the last line of defense for a soccer team, and BYU goalie Mackenzie Olsen loves the impact that she makes in a game.
I have a chance to make a difference in the outcome, win a game for my team, and I love that pressure and that, I don't know, it just gives me competitive edge and makes me want to be my best.
Olsen says that it's not really in her personality to direct and yell at people, but once she gets on the field, she takes that role to heart.
You have to be able to be confident enough in yourself to tell your defense and your team where they need to be and what they're supposed to be doing, because being a goalkeeper, you have, a great vantage point of the whole entire field. You can see everything.
And her teammates appreciate her hard work.
Because she works so hard, that makes everyone else want to work hard, and I think the hard work starts from the back, and so she just lifts up the defense.
Olsen said playing at BYU has been a unique experience because of the aspect that the church brings.
The fact that you can have a devotional and a testimony meeting with your soccer team is something that you can't get anywhere else in the country.
Her time playing at Southfield may be coming to a close, but she'll be continuing her education in the Clinical Laboratory Science program at BYU.
Tomorrow, the team plays their last regular season home game, and Mackenzie and the other seniors on the team will be honored before the game in an on-field ceremony. Brooke?
Thanks, Christine. The Cougar cross-country teams are heading to the Bay Area this weekend to make their debut at the West Coast Conference Championships. Both teams are looking good. The men's team is led by indoor mile national champion Miles Batty. The women's team has a secret of their own. Senior Morgan Hawes. The Cougs will be running against 8 other teams, and you can catch the races live tomorrow on WCCSports.com.
While most people will be traveling home for Thanksgiving, the BYU baseball team will be visiting warmer climates. The Cougars will play 4 games against professional developmental teams for the Red Sox, Royals, Yankees, and the Texas Rangers in the Dominican Republic. The Cougars will take used baseball equipment to give to Dominican children as a service project.
When CougTube comes back, it's time for our Fearless Predictions.
We'll talk Cougars and Horned Frogs, and also important Southwest showdown between Oklahoma Sooners and the Kansas State Wildcats.
And will Mother Nature give our Cougs any tricks tonight in Texas and throughout our Halloween weekend? I'll give you the details when Game Time Weather returns.
Weekend, please tell me I'm not going to be freezing my tail off.
You know what? It's actually going to be pretty nice. So
good.
You don't have a whole lot to worry about. And taking a look outside right now, it does look like it's going to be a pretty awesome day. LaVell Edwards Stadium is going to be empty this weekend as our Cougars are playing in Texas. You do see some overcast clouds right now, and we will be seeing the sun peeking out here and there throughout the day. So we will be having some increasing clouds for the next couple of days. Currently outside right now, it is 43 degrees temperature, humidity at 48%. And the reason why is all that moisture right now in the atmosphere is why we've been having some brisk mornings lately. But we probably should be getting used to that since it is almost November. And for our Cougars down in Texas, they are playing at the Cowboy Stadium. 6 o'clock Mountain Standard Time is when kickoff starts. And for them down in Texas, 50 degrees will be about the temperature when they get started, probably dropping down to the low 40s by the end of the game. And so they really don't have too much to worry about. I guess we should thank our lucky stars that they're not playing in any snow right now or anything like that. And for our stat map right now, you can see these storms have been moving out of Texas, which is why that they're not really going to be dealing too much with any storms or problems. And even here for Utah right now, we do have a small ridge of high pressure that's starting to build. You do see these storms moving in, but we're only going to be seeing a cloud increase, no temperature drop or anything like that. And for southern Utah, well, the clouds aren't really going to be looking at, we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of clouds down there. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's going to be gorgeous, sunny. It's going to be 78 degrees on Monday. And here in northern Utah, we will be seeing those increasing clouds again, struggling to get up into the 60s. And Sunday up to 64. Monday, 67 degrees. So guys, Brooke and Brianna, usually Halloween's is usually wet, cold, and rainy, but it looks like it's going to be great. Back to you.
Great, thanks Chantel. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, predictions. Last week everyone stuck to their guns and picked BYU over Idaho State, and I'm sure they're darn glad they did. As for LSU Auburn, well, Chantel picked the wrong Tiger. The reporters and I still hold the lead at 11-3. This week, it's a BYU TCU matchup deep in the heart of Texas, and everyone but the reporters are banking on another big win. And Dorothy, you're still in Kansas, and the Oklahoma Sooners are coming for dinner. Coming to dinner for a Kansas State-Oklahoma showdown. The number 9 Sooners are coming off of their first loss of the season, but that hasn't stopped 3 of us from picking them over the number 8 Wildcats. And Chantel is going against the flow and picking the Cats to put a W up at home.
I don't think you're going to get that win. I'm sorry.
I really hope so. Like, my numbers are so bad lately, and I'm just having really bad luck. So let's just hope it turns around somehow.
Your record is definitely struggling.
Just a little bit.
But I'm second. I don't like that. So I really, really need BYU to win this week.
Well,
so I can get ahead of the reporters.
Exactly. The reporters
How dare you pick the Horned Frogs?
I know. I want BYU to win, but I think TCU is going to come out with it tonight.
I definitely agree. I'm part hopeful of this win, but I also think that Dallas Cowboy Stadium, I think that will contribute to a force, to help BYU.
Let's hope so.
Beat the Horned Frogs. Please.
Seriously.
Please, please. That's CougTube for October 28th.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great afternoon, and go Cougs.
Wow.